Hello and welcome everyone to Real Magic, where real women just like you are creating real change on this planet. I'm your host, Kathy Forrest, founder of Celestial Forest Institute, and it is my great pleasure to be with Anaiya Sophia today. Welcome, Anaiya. So happy to have you.
Thank you, Kathy. Wow, we're together again.
Right?
Yeah.
Anaiya is a mystic storyteller, soul oracle, and author of Revelatory Wisdom. She teaches workshops throughout the world and is best known for the creation of Sacred Body Awakening. Known for showing up as a trailblazing resource of unapologetic truth and transparent courage, her heart is both fierce and tender. She carries an oral message that stirs the remembrance of a continuous lineage with the feminine principle that throughout the centuries has preserved its spiritual dignity without the need for permission or recognition from any other source. Some of her books include Open Your Heart with Kundalini Yoga, Mini Size Me, Pilgrimage of Love, and Womb Wisdom, and Fire and Feminine Rising, to name a few. Anaiya lives in the Cathar region of southern France with her beloved husband, Pete Wilson. Together, they run a B&B where individuals, families, and large groups can come and stay. Anaiya is able to conduct baptisms, marriages, divorces, and death ceremonies there, as there is a chapel on the site. And there's also a spring there as well. And I'm so excited to talk to you about this. This is a new thing. And your topic today is Dare to Dream, Love in Action. So I just really want you to tell us the story. Share with everyone that may not know about what has been happening in your life. And then we'll talk about your questions.
Okay. Well, I would say a year ago, so May last year, Pete and I walked past this property and noticed it was for sale. And I knew of this place previously because some Dutch people ran a sacred feminine Cathar retreat center here in the 90s. And it was hugely popular. And I knew it had a chapel, and I knew it had a spring, and I knew it had a cave. But it was like a big wish, a big dream. It was like, don't be ridiculous. You know, that's for other people. And Pete and I walked past on one of our hikes, and he said, what do you think? Shall we make an appointment to go and see it? And I was like, yeah, of course. Why not? Just for curiosity. And so the day came when we walked around and we went from room to room and floor to floor, because this place is massive. I sort of found myself having that feeling again of a door is opening. The mind wanted to say, how can this door open? You can't afford this. But the big noise was it's way too big. It's 19 bedrooms. And it is way too big. If you're thinking me, Pete, and at the time, Mum and Dad. Because I knew Mum and Dad were going to be part of this too. I wanted to get them out of the UK and to France so that we can live through this pandemic era together. And so it went on and on and on. Mum and Dad really got behind it too. I thought that they were going to put me off and say, don't be ridiculous. But they sensed something. So they were fully behind. And I was like the last one to make the decision. And that's why I titled this Dare to Dream, because it was a massive dream. Me, Mum and Dad, we come from a very normal, probably if you want to give it a class, a working class, English, Irish background, regular. And of course, my brain and my conditioning was saying, what the heck are you guys doing in a great big house like this? But I knew. I just really got to get over this and dare to dream. But
Right.
more importantly, show up as love in action and start the process. Start the process of contacting the notaire, putting in an offer, and really, really accepting this is happening.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, lo and behold, here we are. The real tender part of it all, and this is the big part, and now I can speak about it without completely breaking down. I suspect strongly my dad's soul, I'm a daddy's girl, my dad's soul knew what was coming up for him, that he was going to pass over, he was going to die.
Mhm.
And he engineered everything. He got mum in place. He
Mm.
got myself and Pete in place. He listened to the build-up process of how happy and excited and like, full of wonder and delight we all were, because we believed he was going to come out of hospital and join us. So it was a very happy, joyful time, the build-up process. And within a week of moving in, signing the papers and moving in, Dad left this world. Now, the big touching piece is that he knew I was going to turn the chapel into a Cathar sanctuary, a Cathar chapel of peace, where you can walk in and feel that tradition. Very much alive, very, very palpable.
Mhm.
And my dad was a very strong Catholic.
Mhm.
He knew I was going to do the Cathar thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I feel that's the little secret secret blessing he passed my way. It was like, there you go, girl. You've got your chapel. Now off you go, and you make that Cathar church of peace or church of love.
Wow. Wow. So this was such a huge undertaking, and it still is. I know you showed up with paint all over you today. You're still in the process of remodeling and taking care of all the 19 rooms. Talk about trusting absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
It really was. And I wanted to. I mean, gosh, I had my mum to take care of. I had me and Pete to take care of. I had my father to take care of. I'm the only one who speaks a little bit of French.
Mhm.
So it was insurance, healthcare, doctors, nurses, hospitalization, and then eventually funeral, crematorium. You know, I'm holding my family's legacy in my hands. Mum has fully surrendered and
Right.
put me in total charge. Oh God.
Wow.
So the house also required this huge grounding piece.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, I had to crash land into the French system
Mhm.
and be legit through and through.
Mhm. Wow.
Which is not very comfortable, but I can
No.
see now very necessary.
Right. How did you keep your mind free of doubt in all of that?
Because I could see the beauty. I could see the land. I could see the spring. I could see, holy moly, this place here is not responding to the natural laws of nature.
Right.
It's supernatural. There's some palpable, obvious other little beings living here,
Mhm.
and we're stepping in
Mhm.
to a fully fledged universe that you know, you can't enter going, right, I'm the new owner around here.
Mhm.
It's like, no, you got to bow your head and tilt your hat.
Mhm.
Like, hey guys, could we possibly find some sort of equilibrium?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Kathy, it's just supernatural.
Right.
It's nature, it's natural, but it's super.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I watch your posts, and in there somewhere, I do believe that you told some of the history of the property and some of the people that frequented that property. I don't know if you want to share that online,
Yeah,
but
this was another concern.
mhm,
This place used to be owned by the church, the Catholic Church,
mhm,
and it was a colony for poor children to have a little summer vacation. So it
mhm,
wasn't a boarding school.
mhm,
It was a place where they would come for the summer in the mountains.
mhm,
And it
mhm.
would be, we got 3 floors of dormitories. And we got a ginormous, full size, if not bigger,
Mhm.
crucifix
Wow.
above the house, embedded in the rock. So it's a little bit like, you know, is it Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro?
Right.
With it's on that level.
Right.
A
Yeah.
little
That's
bit concerned at the beginning, like, is this a happy place or is this a sad place?
mhm, mhm,
And I wanted to be really, really sure that there's going to be no terrible tales
mhm,
coming out, a
mhm,
few years later. Not at all. Not
mhm.
at all. It's a joyful place.
Beautiful.
And at the beginning, I was getting to know as many workers as possible.
Mhm.
And there was a few local chaps who turned up and said, I was here as a child.
Oh, wow.
I came here for vacation. And
Mhm,
they were able to tell me, where everything was. The top floor was for little girls, the
mhm,
middle floor for boys aged 8 to 10.
mhm.
Oh, it's just wonderful.
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
So I bet you needed lots of shoring up. Talk to us about using prayer as a daily resource. What did you glean from that? How did that work for you?
Prayer's always been super important and a daily thing anyway. But I'd always have to, sit, close my eyes, and it could take about 3 to 5 minutes before I was there. I was in that humble place.
Mhm,
Whereas here, you just close your eyes and you're like catapulted into white, gleaming, golden, loving space. And I know it's coming from the spring. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's just outside this room.
mhm, mhm,
There is, like I said, there's something here. There's a portal gateway.
mhm,
It reminds me of Lourdes.
mhm,
The old photos, the old black and white photos of the children.
mhm,
They were all gathered around this spring with all the nuns and the priests, and there
mhm,
was a great big, full-sized Virgin Mary
mhm,
um, planted above the spring.
mhm.
So it's like, to me, it feels the same.
Right.
I've been to Lourdes, I've been to Fatima.
Mhm.
Both of these places are just like, wow.
Wow.
And maybe I'm being a little bit biased, but it
Mhm,
kind of feels the same. And of course, it would be the spring.
mhm.
What's the common
Absolutely.
denominator? It's the spring in the cave.
Mhm. It takes a lot of courage to do what you did. You had to be brave to step into that. And I bet you have to call that up on a daily basis.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, honestly, I'm spending so much money. I'm spending so much money. And of course, I'm not online so much.
Mhm.
So my income has gone crash.
Right. Mhm.
But I have to keep going. I have to keep going, and I have to truly believe in divine providence.
Mhm.
And not divine providence as in, oh, you shall be surrounded by luxury. No. You shall be able to afford to pay the workmen.
Right. Yeah.
You can afford to get the hot water system going.
Mhm.
Divine providence, we shall provide.
Mhm.
And I often change that to I am also capable of providing,
Right.
rather than, oh dear God, help me, divine providence. I'm calling on divine providence.
Mhm.
Um, so also trying that prayer on for size.
Mhm.
I can provide. I can provide for me, for mum, for
Mhm.
Petey, for the animals. We've got loads of animals here.
Mhm.
And if you was to ask me, well, how are you going to do that? I'm like, I really don't know.
Of course you don't. But it's okay. It'll show up. It will show up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it does, someone will buy some oils or they'll book on to come on a retreat, which may or may not happen this year, pandemic, but
Mhm.
let's be faithful. Yeah, divine providence.
Mhm.
There is such a thing.
Mhm. So how do you motivate yourself? And, there is that go, 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 the masculine way. But I would say that you, more than anybody, as far as I'm concerned, epitomize the feminine way of self-motivation. How do you do that?
Music. I love choirs. I love orchestras. My favorite at the moment is Max Richter.
Mhm.
He's a German composer. He's a young man. He's with us today. Oh my God, to hear his music, it's very melancholic.
Mhm.
It's not plucking at the heartstrings. It's taking the heart completely and squeezing the whole organ. So I paint and I do my work to this type of music. And the tears are pouring down because of sadness of losing dad, the beauty of having such an amazing father, the staggering backwards of all that he's given, the knowing that the people are one day going to be here. And we're going to do Cathar prayers in the church, and we're going to be baptized in the spring. So it's almost as if I'm talking already to the people. So of course I want to make the rooms beautiful. I want to make the rooms comfortable. I want to beautify the whole garden with trees and flowers and everything.
Right?
It's music. Yeah. Music
Mm.
just gets right into the deepest part of my soul.
Wow. Beautiful. So when do we get to come? When do we get to come?
Technically, 1st of May, we're open.
Very cool.
And you can, in France, even though we're in a solid lockdown again, this is our 3rd one for a month, even though we're in this solid lockdown, you can still have people stay at your chambre d'hôte, your bed and breakfast.
Right.
As long as you do things according to the COVID rules, new way of life, which we can do. So people can come. I mean, if you can travel, that people can come. So, easily French men and women can come as of the 1st of May.
Beautiful. Wow.
But what I am doing is I'm live streaming from the chapel every Sunday evening. So you can join in and be part of these little masses is a bit of a heavy word, but yeah, it's kind of a mass.
Ceremonies. Yeah.
Ceremonies. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I've caught some of those and they are amazing. And I would like to encourage all of our listeners to tune into that, whether you can get across the ocean yet or not. You can certainly plug into this place, which is enchanted. And I've been keeping track of you on Facebook, and you've been showing us pictures of all the rooms, and they're just beautiful. Is there anything you would like to share with our listeners about stepping into magic?
Well, I would say we are the generation that is entering and activating this paradigm shift. For instance, my mum lives with me now. mum is not aware of what's happening and engaging with what's happening. And
Mhm.
she'll openly say that to you. She's
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, I'm winding down. So it's
Right.
like, okay, this us, in our 50s, in our 60s,
Mhm.
we are the first generation to be aware of this dying off of one paradigm, this birth of the other.
Mhm.
And of course, every decision we make now, as so many energies join for this great gathering that's happening regarding the pandemic, regarding travel, regarding COVID passports, Brexit, all the other things that are happening, it is so prevalent that we are aware and awake at every decision-making process.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because what we decide is what we pass on. And that doesn't just have to be in connection with the pandemic.
Mhm.
Perhaps something like what I and my family have entered into. That was a big decision-making process.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
stepping in with your yes,
Mhm.
as well as your strong no.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I just want to say to us all, myself here as well, stay awake,
Yeah.
stay open,
Mhm.
stay faithful.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. So if people want to support you, how do they do that?
You could come along to the website, see
Mhm.
what's happening, anayasophia.com.
Mhm.
We have the website for the house, which is called lescontes.eu for Europe.
Cool.
Les Contes, by the way, is Occitan for tales or stories.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's the real name. So I didn't
That's
make
so
that one up. I
beautiful.
just thought that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of support in that department would be really handy.
Right. For sure. For sure.
We
So
want to have a part that's an animal sanctuary. So we've got animals already. They're starting to come,
mhm.
but we are open to any animal that's in distress, in neglect, been abandoned, not wanted anymore. And eventually, that is going to cost a lot.
Right. Right.
All the feed, with all the vet bills.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, people keep saying to me, make a patron, make a GoFundMe.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I think at some point I'm really gonna have to.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. So we'll post both of those websites on your page. You also have a lovely free gift for everyone that they can sign up for and then plug in to your
Absolutely.
information. So we'll get that out there. Is there anything else you'd love to share with our listeners before we close for the day?
Probably if you know me well, you'll know I'm very connected to Catharism, which is to me the purest, most simplest, most easy, beautiful early Christian teachings and way of life.
Mhm.
So not religious, not dogmatic, just
Mhm.
just pure grace.
Mhm.
And to say, there's a very strong prophecy that gets completed this year, 2021.
Mhm.
And that prophecy is that the Catharism or the children of the light or whatever, it returns again after 700 years.
That just
And
gives
that
me.
is this year. So for all of us stuck in restrictions and pandemic and social distancing and masks and vaccinations,
Mhm.
please know this, and this is a divine truth, and I know it to be true. However much darkness and control and dominance there is, you can bet your bottom dollar there is the equal amount, absolute perfection and equality of light,
Mhm.
of peace, of grace, of mercy.
Mhm.
Many of us can't see it yet. They just cannot see it.
Mhm.
But please, if you could just open a fraction,
Mhm.
maybe just trust what
Yeah,
I'm saying until you know it to be true yourself.
absolutely. Oh, Anaiya, this has been amazing. And I know of no other person that could bring that message better than you. So thank you. Thank you so much for being with us. I hearken everyone back to the origination point of Catharism. It began in a dark time, way
Yes,
in a dark time.
yes,
And it
yes.
has shown its light all through history ever since. So I
Oh, you
trust
just
that
make
will
me go, whoosh.
happen.
That's exactly right, Kathy. Yeah.
Ah,
If that grace can come through during that medieval time of Inquisition and Crusades,
mhm, mhm.
by golly, it can come through again now.
Yes, in a bigger, better, bolder way. So thank
Yes,
you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing that, for being a beacon of light for all of us. Thank you.
thank you, my darling. She says with her paint splattered hands.
Oh, love you, Anaiya. Thank you so
Love
much for
you
being
too,
with us.
Kathy. Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.